This right here is one of the most secretive bases in the entire world. Its name is NORAD, and I fortunately had the privilege of being able to go inside of it. Years ago, I had the opportunity of a lifetime. My father was a warrant officer 4 in the Navy, and only specific people can actually gain access to this underground base to begin with. So I'm going to be telling you every single thing that I saw inside, and a lot of history that surrounds NORAD and Cheyenne Mountain itself. I've had cryptid experiences on that mountain. I've had UFO experiences on that mountain. It's literally one of the most unworldly locations in the entire world. And it also just so happens to be the home of Space Force itself. As you can see, specifically Space Force Delta 1, headquartered at Peterson Space Force Base, Colorado. Space Base Delta 1 falls under the direction of Space Operations Command for its day-to-day operation missions, while it receives higher headquarters support for its base operations missions from Air Force Material Command as the Air Force Servicing Major Command, aka Stargate Command. Yes, this is rumored to be the exact location as to where Stargate is specifically rumored to be. I'll be getting to that in a second and what I specifically saw. But like I stated, Cheyenne Mountain in Colorado Springs is the home of NORAD, a joint American-Canadian organization devoted to maintaining the security of North American airspace. As you can see, its historic task was as a watchman for the threat of nuclear attack from the Soviet Union. Cheyenne Mountain has also for the past decade been home to Stargate Command like I just mentioned. Cheyenne Mountain also contains nearly a skyscraper's worth of floors, but with one significant difference to a skyscraper. Instead of going 20 or more floors up, it instead descends an unknown number of levels under the mountain. Me and my father were only allowed access to up to 1,000 feet deep, but that's enough to see what was actually going on. Now, it is public knowledge that there is nuclear missile silos underneath this mountain, but seeing them in person was an absolute unreal experience. I mean, they are absolutely huge, people. And when you just so happen to go down that shaft 1,000 feet deep, you really do see how huge they really are. Which also, in the case of a nuclear disaster, NORAD just so happens to be the specific location in which the president goes to for safe haven. And luckily, I was able to see what those vault doors look like. But let me just assure you, they are definitely secure. Specifically because behind those vault doors just so happens to be another shaft going 1,000 more feet down, which just so happens to lead to one of the most largest underground lake complexes in the entire world. My father has actually had access to these lower levels without me, and he can confirm that there is a random white rowboat that's bobbing on top of the underground lake. And it just so happens to look specifically like this, with the caves themselves being locked behind 23-ton blast doors, with the reservoirs underneath the mountain allowing the bunker to operate with its doors closed for several weeks. The 70s era diesel generators having enough fuel to keep the entire facility powered for that time. Stocks of supplies and seemingly endless locked cabinets lining the building's walls. But see, my father told me something when he actually had access to these lower caverns, okay? There's a lot of top secret passageways underneath this mountain, specifically after you go 1,000 feet deep. And the technology that I saw myself even going 1,000 feet deep was so unworldly to even begin with. But he spoke out about these super generators and how they were powering this specific aircraft. And I might present that photo here in TikTok. I really don't know how to go about that to even begin with. But he took a photo of one of those aircraft, and let me tell you, it looks a lot like a UFO. And it is really ironic that they just so happen to do a lot of experiments testing with neutrinos underneath that mountain, with neutrinos being rumored to emit from UFOs themselves. So I'm sure there's no coincidence there. But this right here is the specific area of which I had access to. The main entrance to this steel buildings is a prosaic office door leading to a warren of corridors, most of which are off limits to those without proper clearance. And only 350 people work inside this bunker daily, okay? With about 170 staying there overnight. Now do keep in mind, Cheyenne Mountain itself is impervious to electromagnetic radiation. So nuclear radiation at a certain point does not have access to the inside of this mountain. It is literally one of the most secure complexes in the entire world. Like you can see here, the Cheyenne Mountain Complex is also the fictional setting for Stargate Command, ironically, and is rumored to be under the mountain because of the mountain's history of military use and alien conspiracy theories, with the base itself also having a network of more than 200 supercomputers and 600 communication lines that collect data from U.S. military and civilian satellites, air radar warning systems, and ground radar warning systems as well, with the Cheyenne Mountain Complex ironically having a broom closet called the Stargate Command, something of which I also had the privilege of seeing. And let me tell you, there's ironically a lot of unworldly noises coming from behind that door. So who knows what could be behind that door? But what I do know is that this was one of the most surreal experiences that I've ever had in my entire life. And it definitely confirmed a lot of theories for myself. But when I tell you that mountain used to just open up and you used to see unworldly things come out of it, I mean it. And if anybody would like any videos of what I saw and what experiences I had on top of that mountain, then I would gladly do some videos upon it. Because like I stated also, I have had cryptid experiences on top of that mountain as well. And seeing a Wendigo is definitely not something that I would openly recommend. There's definitely a series of odd experiments going on underneath that mountain. Experiments that the public is not capable of comprehending in the first place. But if you have the chance to go to Colorado Springs, I highly recommend going to that specific mountain. Stay there for a week, just see what you can see. Because I guarantee you will have an experience of your own.